and welcome to this Themify video screencast. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to fully set up the shop theme from Themify. It's one of the most powerful multi-purpose WooCommerce themes you can get for WordPress, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know to have the theme fully set up on your site. So the first thing to do is to head to themify.me and then click on Members and then Member Area. You'll need to log in if you haven't already, and then scroll down. And under Themes, you want to find the Shop theme. Download this onto your computer and just save that onto your computer. You can now head over to your WordPress dashboard and we can install the theme. We'll do this by going to Appearance and then clicking on Themes and then Add New. You're going to upload theme and then just drag and drop the zip file you've just downloaded and press Install Now. WordPress is going to upload the theme and you can now activate. With the theme activated then, there are a couple of things we need to do before we get started. And the first of these is install and activate a couple of plugins that are needed to run the shop theme. So the first of these is WooCommerce, and we can add this by going to Plugins and then Add New and then searching for WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a free plugin, which as you may know is going to power the shop features of the shop theme. So let's install and then activate the plugin. I'll just take a moment to download onto your site. And then we can activate it right away. When you activate WooCommerce, you're going to be taken to a setup page, which you'll see here. It says run the setup wizard. We're going to skip this for now and come back to looking at WooCommerce later. There are now also a couple of other add-ons we need to add in order to get the most out of the shop theme. To find these, we need to return to the Themify member area. And here we want to go to Builder add-ons, and we're going to add Builder Slider Pro. Just download this onto your computer, save that file, do the same for Builder WooCommerce. So we'll just download this, save that onto your computer as well. We're now going to go back to the WordPress dashboard, go to Plugins and then Add New, and we're going to upload plugin and then drop in Builder WooCommerce, press Install Now and then Activate. And then we'll do the same for Builder Slider Pro. And these are just two Themify Builder plugins which are available with the theme. So we'll add Builder Slider Pro as well, press Install Now, and then activate the plugin. We're now all good to go with the rest of the details of the theme. So the first thing we're going to have a look at is the skins and demos, and we'll find these under Themify Shoppe and then Themify Settings. You're going to have a number of settings here. We'll come to look at these later on, but you'll see you also have some tabs across the top. Skins and demos is the one we're interested in for now. What these are going to do is allow you to import the content, layout, and all of the settings found with the 3 currently demos available at themify.me. So just in a couple of clicks, you can have your site set up exactly as it would be with the demo. You can choose which one you want just by clicking on these. And you'll see when you click on a demo, you can also import or erase afterwards the demo content. If you haven't got content on your site already, this is a great way of speeding up the process of getting your site started. So this provides a great base where you can customize from and then amend with your own content rather than starting with a blank canvas. So let's go for the default skin and then import the demo content for this. Later on, as I mentioned, you can also erase the imported posts and pages, so you will keep the Themify panel settings, widgets, any existing and modified imported pages and posts, they're going to stay as is. So we'll save those changes, and if we now have a look at our site, you'll see right away we're set up with the demo that you'll be familiar with from themify.me. So we've got the big slider, we've got a number of featured categories, we've got some featured products here, and then the rest of the theme, including the footer, is laid out exactly how it is in the demo. So we can get started customizing these then. The first thing we're going to look at is using WooCommerce itself, because this is important in order to understand how to get the most out of the shop theme. You need to understand how products work. So WooCommerce, you'll see, adds 2 tabs here. You've got WooCommerce and also products. First, let's have a look at the WooCommerce tab. So this is going to be the kind of control center for any orders you receive on your online shop. And there are a number of things you can set up here, including you can see your orders, coupons, reports. But what we're interested in is settings. This will set up a number of settings for you, and you'll want to just run through these and set them up as per your preferences. So you've got things like your location, where you're shipping to, your currency options, and so on. You've got a number of options for products. What we're interested in is making sure that the pages we imported from the demo match what WooCommerce is using here. So first, you'll see we can set a shop page. And you'll see one of the pages we've imported from the demo is this shop page. So we'll click on that. That's going to be used as the base page for all of our products. You can set whether to display products, categories, or categories and products on the shop page, as well as the default category to display. So whether to show products, subcategories, and show subcategories and products. You can control the default sorting of the catalog. So you've got options there, as well as enable the nice ajax add to cart button on archive pages. You've got some options for images as well, but you want to set those up and then save your changes. So that's one thing you need to set up for the shop theme. The next is if we head back to the checkout, there are going to be a couple of checkout pages we need to set up as well. So we'll set the cart page to our cart page we've got from the demo, checkout to the checkout page, and then terms and conditions we'll just set to the sample page, and you can customize that later. At the bottom of the page, you're going to be able to set up your payment gateways. These are important because without these, customers aren't going to be able to pay you. So you can add extra ones in by going to extensions and adding extra extensions, but you'll see by default you have 4 options and 2 are enabled by default. You can click through to any of these in order to set those up. So you want to have a look at those because, as I said, otherwise your customers aren't going to be able to pay you and you'll be in for a bad time with your online shop. On the Accounts tab, we're going to want to set up the Accounts page to be My Account. This is just so WooCommerce knows where to send users once they've registered so they can see their account. You'll also want to save those changes as well. Under Emails, here you can configure email notifications. So you'll see all of those available there. And you have some API options, but it's safe to leave those as they are. So those are the WooCommerce settings, but if we head over to the Products tab, then we're going to be able to see how we can add in products to the store, which is obviously very important, and how we can use the shop settings in conjunction with them. So you add a new product by going to Products and then Add Product, or you can click on one of these in order to edit a product you've already got. Save a bit of time, I'm just going to edit one that is already existing. You're going to be able to add in the product title and description. And then you've got, down here, you've got the Themify Custom panel, which has some product options, some options for the page appearance, and Themify Builder options. We're going to look at product options in a moment, and then these two later on in the video. You've got some other product options if you scroll down here. So you can set the price, inventory options, shipping, and so on. You can add in a short description as well as a product image. So let's just drop in a nice image for this product. So we'll go for set product image, and let's drag and drop an image for this into the WordPress media library. So we'll set the product image there, and we can also set the product categories and tags. And if we update that, you'll see under the publish options, you also have catalog visibility. So this is available in the catalog and search, but you can also set that to be other options, as well as set that to be a featured product. So let's now just have a look at how that looks like on our site. You'll see this is a regular product. Because we've already imported all of the options, this is set up nicely, but you'll see we've added in the image here. We've got this nice hover over that allows you to zoom in, and we've also got the description and related products and so on. So how do you customize how this looks? Well, let's head back to edit product here. You can edit this on a product by product basis, but if we head back to Themify Shoppe and then Themify Settings, you're going to also be able to edit this on a site-wide basis. We'll look at this first and then come back to show you how you would do this on an individual product basis. So what we're going to do here is head to Shop Settings. And here we can set the options for the product archive. And if we scroll down, we've got options for the single product page. So we can choose the product sidebar option, for example, so left, right, or no sidebar. The image layout, so product image left, right, or in the center. The image size, whether we have the zoom image or the default WooCommerce lightbox. whether you have the product share button on, product reviews on or off, related products on or off, and the number of related products to show. You can also set the related product image size. But if you want to set perhaps the width to 200 and the height to unlimited, so it doesn't crop them, then you can enter 0 there. You can also enable the wishlist or disable that, and you can also choose the page where that goes to. That doesn't require logging in, and it just allows users to save the products that they want into their browser. That's just saved as a cookie. We've got some options for the cart as well as the spark animation and the shop sidebar here. So if you want the ajax cart style to be drop down or slide out, you can choose that here. Spark animation, if you want to disable that, that's the animation that occurs when a user clicks on the add to cart or wishlist button. I'll just show you that here. If we press add to cart, so you've got that spark animation there. You can also choose the color there, as well as whether to disable the shop specific sidebar. So if we've turned on the sidebar here, if we have this off, then that's going to use just the regular sidebar. If this is unticked, then the shop specific sidebar is going to be used. We'll come to have a look at sidebars and widgets later on. So we can save those changes and those single product page options, as well as the other options you can set here, are going to be applied. You can also then, if you want to customize them on a product by product basis, if we head back to edit the product, you see you have options for the product options here. So we can set the sidebar, the content, the image layout, dimensions, and so on. And also we have general options for the page appearance here. I mentioned we'll come to look at these on a site-wide basis later on, but if you want to customize here, the options are the same for site-wise versus on a page-by-page basis or product-by-product basis. So if you want to come back to these later on, you can do so. So right now these are all set to the defaults, but let's perhaps change the image from left to center and then preview those changes. And we'll be able to see that that's made right away onto the site. So we've got the image in the center now and the rest of the product options as we set them. So you want to have a little bit of a play around with the product settings in order to get the look that you want. It's also worth mentioning product archives at this point. So if we just head to a product archive here, you're able to see what these look like by default. So you'll see on this one, we've got a basic grid layout, and we've also got auto loading of extra content at the bottom as well. We can choose how to sort these. This is just a basic archive at the moment. If we head back to the shop options, then under settings, shop settings, you remember at the top of the page were the product archive options. And here you can set how these are going to display. So you'll see right now we've got sidebar right. We've got a grid, so a 3x3 grid. You'll see that in action here. So we've got 3, but we could change that to a list, 4, 3, 2, or auto tile. You can also disable or enable the masonry layout in the grid view. So if the images don't line up, then you can have the images overlap in a kind of masonry layout, and similar to how you would have with brickwork, hence the name. You can set the content style, so whether an overlay or a Polaroid, the things like the product gutter, so whether to have gutter or not. The hover gallery is on or off, products per page, to hide the product title and price, and then a whole bunch of options available there. So I'll just show you very quickly, if you wanted to change this to a 2-wide grid instead of a 3-wide, it's just a case of making the change that you want, saving those changes, and it's made right away onto your site. So those are the keys for setting up WooCommerce. We've gone into WooCommerce here to set up the settings here. We've got products here. We've learned how to add a product and also how to customize the options under Themify settings and then shop settings as well. Next then, let's run through some of the general settings available for the shop theme. So we're under the general settings tab here, and you can do things such as add a favicon, add a custom RSS feed URL, add any code for your header. So it might be additional scripts such as JavaScript or CSS, and same for the footer. Again, that might be JavaScript or any tracking code. You can exclude any category IDs from your search. So if you have any categories you don't want to display, then you can get their IDs and use the minus sign. So for example, -1 or -7 here. In order to do that, you'd find the category ID by going to either posts and categories here. Let's open that up in a new tab. And if you hover over the URL here, then in the bottom on the left-hand side, it's going to see ID equals and then the number, and that's the category ID there. You can also choose to exclude posts, pages, and products from your search results. If you want to set a custom 404 page, you can choose between any of the pages that you published on your site here, as well as you can exclude any categories from your RSS feed. So it's the same, use the minus sign here, as well as whether to exclude featured images. If you want to add any Google fonts, then you can add them in here. You can choose between either recommended Google fonts or all of the Google fonts. So note that's going to take a long time to load there. You can just refresh that list in order to access the fonts and just select the ones you want. You can also choose the character subsets you want. So if you need any additional non-Latin character sets, then you can set those there. Save those changes once you're done. And next we're going to have a look at the default layout options. Here you can set the default layouts for the WordPress archive post, as well as single posts and page. The default single post and pages can be overridden individually on the page or post, and then edit, and then click on the Themify custom panel, very similar to how we just looked at with products. So I won't show you that now, but we'll have a look at the global options. You've got a bunch of options here. It's just a case of running through these and setting them up how you want them. So you can choose the default archive sidebar option, so left, right, or no sidebar, as well as the layout. You can hover over each of those in order to get the description. Again, you can choose the gutter, whether to display an excerpt or the full content or no content at all. If you have more text, whether to display that if you're using the excerpt mode as well as full content. Order by, dates, random, author, and so on, as well as whether you're ascending or descending. Choose whether to hide the post title, unlink that, options for the meta, and a bunch of other options as well there. Under the default single post layout, you can again choose the sidebar option. You can choose whether to have the post title hidden, and very similar options there, just a case of running through those and setting them up how you want them. Note that these can be overridden on a per post basis. You just have to scroll below the main content box when you're editing a post. For pages, it's very similar. So again, you can set the sidebar options for the title, featured images, and whether comments are on as well. And those can also be changed on a per page basis. After you set those up, then you'll want to save those changes. And next up is the theme settings. You can choose whether to have the responsive design on or off, and also what the customizer responsive breakpoints are going to be. So you'll probably want to keep the responsive design on, because this will make sure that your site looks good across desktop, mobile, and tablets, with specific responsive versions of the site available for each of those. If you want to turn this off and just have the desktop version displayed on all devices, you can do so there. So assuming you're keeping that on, when we get to the WordPress customizer later on, you'll be able to set a tablet and mobile view. You can just set the breakpoints here, so when it switches to both of those. You're probably fine to leave those as the default unless you have any specific requirements. You've got an option for the WordPress gallery lightbox, so whether to have the magnific lightbox on. So that will just make sure when you click on an image, it's going to load up a bigger version across the whole page. It's a kind of overlay rather than opening up just in a new window. You can also choose to apply the lightbox to image links. So all links to JPEG, PNGs, and GIFs will open in that lightbox there if that's on. You can enable script minification. This will give you faster page load. You can also choose whether to enable builder caching. This will cache the builder content, and gzip. This will add gzip code to your htaccess file. You can choose when your cache should refresh, and if you need to force any changes, then you can clear the minified cache there, or clear all cache. If you experience any problems or conflicts because of this, so that might be things such as sliders stop working, you can disable that, and that will stop that problem. But if you're able to get these on, then turn this on, save the changes now, have a look at your site. You should see everything's working fine and you'll get a faster site. But if anything looks off, then you'll need to disable that. Next up, we have the theme appearance. Here you can set the theme appearance site-wise, and these appearance settings can also be overridden on an individual post and page. So under the Themify Custom panel, and then click on the Page Appearance tab. You'll remember when we were looking at products, we looked at these very briefly. So you have a whole bunch of different options for header design, and you can hover over each of these in order to see what they look like. So I'll just show you very quickly what happens if we change one of these. So right now we have the header logo in the center. So if we load up a page here, you're going to see we've got logo in the center and then the menu on either side. Let's just load that up to perhaps the header on the left pane. You can set any other options for what you want to exclude, as well as your footer design. So right now we have a left aligned footer and then a bunch of columns. So we could change any of those if we want to, perhaps that have a footer block, and perhaps, so right now we have a bunch of widgets. We could exclude the back to the top button as well. We can also change the number of widgets. So you'll see right now we have 4 widget areas. We could change that to 2, for example, and then change the widget's position. So right now it's after footer text. We'll just leave that as it is. I'll save those changes and you can see right away how quickly you can get them to display on your site. So when the page reloads, you're going to see we've now got the header on the left-hand side along with the menu displaying on the left-hand side. And if we scroll down, we're going to see we've got 2 widget areas in a block layout. So you can change any of those globally or on a per post, per page or per product basis in the posts, pages and products respectively. If you want to apply a filter to your images, so grayscale, sepia or blurry, you can do so here. You can also choose whether to have that on hover. You can choose whether that's applied to featured images or all images. I'm just going to leave those off. You can also choose whether to have infinite scroll on, whether to have standard pagination and whether that's numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, or just have next and previous. You'll remember when we were loading up the product archive, we had infinite scroll on, so more products were being loaded as we got to the bottom of the page. So we can have that on. Or if you want to have it so that when you get to the bottom of the page, you just need to click for more products to be loaded, you can do that there. And that'll do that without leaving the page. This is just a nice way of improving the user experience, but you can also change those if you want to. You have options here for the footer social banners. So you'll see we have these set up here, and you can just customize these. So you've got options to show or hide any of these options. You can add in your username, where the banner should link to, so that will want to be your account, and then also an image here. That will want to be the logo of the service, or perhaps your logo on that service. You can upload from the WordPress media library in order to do that here. So just choose whichever logo you want to add in there. Finally, you can also change the footer text. So you can enter text here to replace the copyright and credit links in the footer. This can include HTML here. You can hide any you don't want. So you can just toggle those and also have them on or off. As always, save your changes. We've already looked at the shop settings, so let's skip forward to the image script. The image script is used to dynamically generate featured images. So if your images are cropped manually, you can disable this for faster performance. You're probably going to want to leave this on though, unless you're specifically cropping your images manually. We can manage these social links. And to display these, you're going to first need to go to Appearance and then Widgets, and then drag and drop the Themify social links into the specific widget area. So we'll do that now. Let's head to Appearance and then Widgets. We'll come to look at widgets later on, but we're going to see that we've got under the footer widget 1, we've got this added already because that was part of the demo content we imported. But if we find this here, it's just a case of dragging and dropping where you want it to display. So we could do that here as well. You've got a couple of options you can set here. So with the show the link name, open a new window, icon size, and whether that's vertical or horizontal. You can just save those changes there. We'll come back to look at widgets later on. That's just quickly how you're going to set that up. You can choose whether to have an icon font or just choose images. So if you have the icon font, then you can choose a bunch of different icons here. So if we press insert icon, It's going to load up a huge number of different icons from this icon font here. So we've got brand icons at the bottom here. You can choose a whole bunch of different social icons. But if you want to use actual images, you can do that as well. Managing your social links then is just a case of adding in the one that you want. So you can press add link in order to add new ones. You can X to remove them, as well as drag and drop in order to move those around. You can customize, obviously, the title, link, the icon, and also the color and background. You might want to set those to match the brand of whatever social media site you're linking to here. Save those changes once you're done. Next up are the options for Themify Builder. You're going to want to have Themify Builder on in order to use it. We'll come to look at Themify Builder later on, but these are just some general settings. You also got options for the appearance animation, so you can disable that on all devices or just mobile and tablet. Whether you've got the parallax background on and whether you've got the parallax scrolling disabled on all devices, mobile and tablet, or not at all. Again, you can choose the responsive design breakpoints as well as exclude any builder modules that you don't want. It's just a case of ticking those and then saving your changes once you're done. In order to use the Themify Twitter widget and the Twitter shortcode, you're going to need to set up Twitter API. You can follow this link to the documentation for more details on that. And it's the same for Google Maps. In order to use the Builder Map module and Map shortcode, you're going to need an API key. You can generate one by following those instructions there. If you want to change any hook content to add content to the theme without editing any theme files, you can do so here. You've got options to add an item in here, as well as you can see the hook locations, so how to add that in. That's more advanced, so if you want to have a look at those, you'll find details there. You can choose who has access to what, so whether editors, authors, contributors, shop managers can access specific bits of your site. That includes the Themify custom panel under posts and pages, the WordPress customizer options, the builder backend, and the builder frontend. You can just disable or enable either of those, or just leave them as the default for defaults. So if you don't want to have specific people accessing specific things, you can choose that there. If you want to add your own custom icon fonts, then you can go to Fontello and create a package and then upload that there. And then that icon package is then going to be available in Themify's icon library, where you click insert icon, which we did for the social links, for example. So once you're through with all of those, you can save those changes. We've already looked at skins and demos, but let's just quickly have a look at the transfer options. Here you can just import and export any theme settings. That will allow you to quickly move your site perhaps from different hosting environments, so from a local host to your live host, for example. And you can also update here. You'll need to log in with your Themify membership details. You can then check for latest updates and install them as appropriate. Here I've got the latest version of the theme, so there's no updates available. So those are the Themify settings. Let's now have a look at how to set up the mega menu feature. You'll note that when we look at the menu on the site, you see you've got, if you hover over any of these, you've got this mega menu. This allows you to display a huge amount of information in the menu. For example, we can show blog posts sorted by category here. We can show column layout here. So we've got archives, popular images and so on, so popular products and so on. And we can also choose between different column layouts. Let's have a look at how to set this up. We're going to use the mega menu by going to Appearance and then Menus. We're going to select the menu to edit. So you'll see when we imported the theme, we imported the main navigation menu. You can see that's applied to the main navigation location. We also have the icon navigation menu as well. So let's select that there. And we're going to see that we've got a whole bunch of mega menu items here. The way this works is that you have the WordPress menu editor on top as the basic settings here, and you also have the mega menu features on top of that. So you can add new content to your menu by going to the type of content, so pages, posts, custom links, categories. You can tick what you want to add. So for example, this page here, press add to menu, and it's going to be added to the bottom here. You can then drag and drop in order to move that around, and you can indent in order to make that a sub menu, or you can make that a sub menu again. So if we want to have this a non-submenu, we're going to make that not indented. We can indent that once, or we can do the whole lot. And you can see how you can build more complex menu layouts there. You can expand a menu item in order to customize the text that displays, add an icon, choose if you have drop-down columns, have the mega menu on. We'll come to look at those in a moment. And also just remove any menu items that you don't want. You can save your menu once you've finished making changes, and then you can apply that menu to a location. The shop theme has two locations, so it has the main navigation and also the icon navigation. So here we've created two menus, so main navigation, icon navigation, but you can see we can switch between any menus we've created and just select those there. Save those changes, and then we can see them straight away on our site. If you head back to edit menus, you can create a new menu and then add that in a separate location. So that's how you get multiple menus to choose from. The mega menu feature then can be applied to any page, category, or custom link. Let's have a look how this works then. So we currently have a mega menu set up on the shop page. So we'll expand this and we'll see that we've got mega menu selected here. Here's one we could choose between mega posts and full width columns. We'll have a look at full width columns in this example and then the mega posts in another one. You can also turn this off just by selecting the blank option there. So this is set to full width columns, and you'll see these are now set to an auto width. You can, however, choose to have different variations here, so a 1/3, 2/3, or opposite layout, or a bunch of other options there. So we've got here the full width columns set up. And how do we add mega menu content to those? Well, we can now add any page, post, custom links, category, or tags or widgets as a sub menu here, and they will display in multiple columns. So we can see that we've got a bunch of custom links here. So we've got archive layouts, product single, WooCommerce product categories, WooCommerce top rated products. If we have a look at our site, you'll see we've got 4 columns with those titles, and then each of the submenus is each of the content. So we've got archive layouts and then all of the different layouts that you can get. Product single, we've got all of those there. So let's have a look again. We're looking for the different layouts and then the different product single layouts as well. So you'll see archive layouts and all of those, product single and all of those. If you want to edit any of those, it's just a case of adding new, dragging and dropping to move those around. So we can add any new pages, posts, custom links, tags, categories, or widgets in here. It's just a case of selecting what you want, pressing add to menu, and then dropping those in. So remember, the structure here is we've got the first menu item is going to have the mega menu. Here you can also set the structure of the columns. And then the columns are controlled by the next sub-menu item. And then what goes in those is controlled by the sub-menus of the sub-menus. So these are sub-sub-menus. So you'll see we've got one first layer here. Second layer is the columns. And then the third layer is the content of the columns. You'll notice I mentioned widgets just now, but we can't see them available here. How do you add widgets into your mega menu? It's just a case of going to screen options and making sure that widgets is ticked here. You can now add in any of the widgets that you've got available on your site. So if you wanted to add in perhaps the Themify social links, we can add to menu here. It's going to be added to the bottom of the menu items. And let's just drop this in on that mega menu we created as an extra column. And we'll see what that looks like. So let's nestle that one. We can expand that in order to choose the widget options. So we could just set the title here. We'll show the link name as well. If we just save that menu and then refresh our site once that has saved. So let's just refresh here. This is also going to refresh the header layout. This is now displaying on the left-hand side. Earlier we hadn't refreshed after making that change, but you'll see we've got the mega menu still. So we've got each of the columns. We've also got here the social icons as well with that social widget. So that's how you're setting up the mega menu with those different column layouts. Let's also look then at how we would use the mega posts mega menu feature. So if we head over to the Themify demo here, you'll be able to see that if we hover over here, we've got different blog posts, and if we hover over here over each category, we can choose posts from each category along with the featured image and the title. It's a really nice way of displaying a lot of content in your menu. So you can use these by selecting the mega menu posts here, so mega posts, and then again any sub items are going to be the mega post categories that display here. So these are added in just by going to categories here, selecting the categories that you want, adding to menu, and then dropping those in. We'll see here there are no extra settings to set up here. It's just a case of dropping in those categories and you're going to get the mega posts added in. It's also possible to do this with tags. So if the tag option isn't available up here, then again, just go to screen options, tick tags, and that's going to show up as well. There's just one final mega menu option here. I'll just show you how this works. And that is the drop-down multi-columns. You can choose if you load up any page, category, or custom link. You can choose between a number of columns, so 2, 3, or 4. You can then add any link, so that's page, post, custom links, tags, or categories, or widgets, and add those in as sub-menus here. And that will display them as nested links in the number of columns set. So that's just a nice way of adding in some of those extra details. Save those changes, and that's done with the mega menu setup. There's a huge amount of information you can display with the mega menu, so you'll want to spend a little bit of time getting those set up, but it's well worth doing so. Let's move on now to have a look at how to set up Themify Builder on your site. We'll just head over to just a regular WordPress page here. So the features page will do. We can see this is just a regular WordPress page with a bunch of extra features as well. Let's move the menu back up to just across the top, and we'll do that by going to Edit Page, Page Appearance. If we click here, we'll set the header design to Header Logo Center. Let's update that and then check out the page again. That's just going to move the menu from the side back up to the top. So we'll view this page here. And let's get started with Themify Builder now. Themify Builder offers a drag and drop layout for WordPress. It allows you to build layouts without needing to use any code. It allows you to get exactly the look you want, and it's very, very easy to use. You can turn on Themify Builder by going to any page you want to use Builder on and clicking Turn on Builder. So this is the front end editor that allows you to directly preview what you're editing. You can now see, you can hover over any of these and you'll see you can start clicking on items in order to move them around or edit them. So any of this content is now editable. So for example, if I just wanted to change this text here, just a case of double clicking, wait for that to load, and we can now change the text. So if we wanted to add an exclamation mark, we can do so there and then save those changes. Those changes will be applied right away onto the site. I'll show you again. We can double click here, customize any of the content to get exactly the look that you want, and then just save those changes. So if I wanted to just remove that one word there, I can do so. You've also got extra options for the styling. So we can choose other options here. Just have a look through, set the ones that you want, and also options for the heading, the animation, so whether there's an animation for the appearance, and also the parallax scroll if you have that on. Remember we looked at that in the site settings earlier. You can also choose whether to show or hide on desktop, tablet, or mobile. Save those changes and they're going to be made right away onto your site. If we save those changes and then turn off Builder, which we can do by heading back to here, pressing turn off Builder, then those changes are going to be made right away and our site is updated. So if we refresh this page, you see those changes are made right away to live visitors onto the site. That's the basics of how you edit a content with Themify Builder, but how do you customize the layout and add your own content in? To do that, you're going to need to use these builder modules down the bottom here. You can drag and drop these in order to add any extra content you want for your site. So for example, if we wanted to add in a video, for example, we can just drag and drop. You'll see it previews where we can add these in. So we can add that in there, for example. We can select the video style, the URL, where this auto plays, and so on, all those options, as well as the styling, animation, and visibility options we looked at earlier. So I'll just add in a video URL here. We'll set that to 100%. So 100 and then %. And just leave the rest of those blank. Let's save the changes, and that video is going to be added in right away. So that's set up with the options that we set. We can now edit those if we want to change any of them, or indeed delete the module. You can also drag and drop in order to move those around. So if we wanted to perhaps make this a multi-column layout, we could do so here. Let's hover over the columns, and then we'll just drag and drop the video into this space here. So that loads up the video there. So we can add as many columns as we like. So we just hover over this section here, and you'll see you can add all those in. We can change the widths. So if we wanted to make the video larger and the text smaller, you can do that. You can also choose the column alignment. So whether the content is going to go in the middle or whether it's aligned from the bottom and so on. And you can also pick up this entire module and drag and drop that. So we can pick that up and then drag that to where we want it. Let's just show you how to get rid of a module content here. So let's just delete that. OK to remove the module, and then let's set that back to full width. So it's just a case of dragging and dropping the builder module that you want to display into where you want it to display and setting up the settings. You remember we added a couple of extra modules specifically for the shop theme. Those are the Slider Pro and the WooCommerce module, and you can access those just there. So you want to spend a bit of time playing around with the different builder options, the different builder modules as well, and just getting your site set up exactly how you want it, because it's incredibly powerful and you can get exactly the look that you want with your site. Remember we talked about breakpoints earlier. You can also preview your site on tablet, tablet portrait as well as landscape, and mobile devices as well. If we head back to the desktop, let's save those changes, and we can now turn off Builder. Those changes are going to be made right away onto your site. The final thing to look at with Builder then is the different layouts. So turn on Builder again. Obviously, if you're actually doing this, you don't need to turn on off Builder. I'm just showing you how that's going to look straight away. If we now head to layouts, we can load a huge number of layouts that are pre-designed, and you can apply these just by dropping them in. So if we wanted to replace this with either a custom designed shop page, or portfolio, an about page, it's very easy to do. You just got to select the option that you want, select the layout that you want, and then it's going to be applied right away. So if I was having a wine shop, I could replace the existing layout with one click, and I can now customize this layout to get the look that I want. So we'll see in just a moment that is loaded up straight away onto the site. And once Builder loads, I can then customize the content, add in any extra Builder modules to get precisely the content I want, edit the content to get the look that I want, and then turn off Builder, and we are done. So that's loaded up now, and we can see we've got this layout added in. We've got a huge number of features added in here, and we can just customize this to get the look that we want. So if I wanted to customize the text here, it's just a case of double-clicking, customizing the content. So let's add in an exclamation mark there as well, and then saving those changes. Turn off Builder, sorry, save those changes there. Let's turn off Builder, and you'll see those made right onto the site. So that's how easy it is to use the different Builder layouts. And Builder is just incredibly powerful. You'll want to spend a bit of time getting used to it because you'll be able to get precisely the look that you want. It's incredibly rewarding. Let's move on now to look at the WordPress widgets. You're going to find these under Appearance and then Widgets. And these allow you to add extra content to specific widget areas. The way this works is you have widgets that are available on the left-hand side. So you'll see you have all of these regular widgets and also some Themify specific widgets available here. And on the right-hand side, you have the widget areas that you can drag and drop them into. So right now we have the sidebar, we've got the below footer logo widget, shop sidebar, and then we've got the 2 footer widgets. You remember we set that to 2, but you can change that to up to 4 in the theme options. It's just a case of dragging and dropping the widget you want into the widget area you want it to display. You then have some settings pop up and you can customize these, save those changes, and that's all there is to it. You can also drag and drop to have different widget areas moved around. Sorry, different widgets moved between widget areas or within widget areas here. So if I wanted to move the text to the sidebar, I could do that. If I wanted to move the most commented widget to the shop sidebar, I could also do that. I could also move those to the footer. And you'll see how easily the widgets are to use. It's just a simple drag and drop system. So you'll find descriptions for all of these different widgets available here. It's just a case of dragging and dropping. You can also manage widgets with a live preview, and this uses the WordPress customizer. The customizer is accessible by going to Appearance and then Customize, and here you're going to get a live preview of your site. If we back up here, we'll see we have some general WordPress options. So we can customize the site identity, including the site icon. The menus you can also customize from here with that live preview. Widgets can be customized also with the live preview, but note you're only going to get widgets for each widget area that is currently displayed on the page. So right now, for example, we don't have the sidebar, but we would need to click through to a page with a sidebar in order to get the sidebar widget area to show up. That means it's probably slightly easier to use widgets under Appearance and then Widgets, but if you want to get that live preview, you can do so under the customizer. So we've actually set up the blog page to not have the sidebar, but if it did, then you would have the widgets there. You've got options for a static front page as well as any additional CSS you want to add in. Then under Themify options, you have some more advanced Themify options for customizing individual aspects of your site. We have basics and advanced options here. The basic options just displays fewer options, but they're basically the same thing here. So you can expand any of these and then customize what you want. So let's go perhaps to body and then the body font. We can change the font size. We can change the font to display. And this will load up website fonts and then Google fonts. You remember earlier we set the Google fonts to load all Google fonts rather than the recommended fonts. You would leave it on recommended fonts just because there are now thousands of fonts to choose from. But you can choose any of those. You can customize those just by clicking on the ones that you want. You can set all these different styling options, including the font weight, how it's styled, the color, using this color picker here. You can customize the default body font color. It's the same for links. You can also choose the color as well as the styling and what happens to links on hover. All those options are available, and it's just a case of going into what you want and then making the change. So if we wanted to change the header background, for example, we could do so just by changing the color here. So you get that live preview instantly, or we could add in a background image. Choose from the WordPress media library. You can drag and drop your own image there. Select the image that you want and press insert image, and that's going to display as a background image. You can also customize the margin, padding, border, and so on. And it's just a case of selecting what you want, and then the change is going to be made. So you have similar options for the site logo and tagline, main navigation, post, page title, module titles for Builder, sidebar, footer, and also any custom CSS you want to add in there. Under the advanced options, we're going to have options, as I mentioned, just more settings. So if this loads up here, you'll see we can also customize the layout containers, forms. And if we go into any of these options, we're going to find a whole bunch of extra options there. So if you don't find the detail under the basic options, you can load the advanced options in order to do that. We've also got options to remove everything, import and export from another installation as well. You can save any changes by pressing this button here and then exit the customizer by pressing that X. That's going to take you back to your site's homepage and you'll have all of the changes that you made displayed right away. So that concludes our look around the shop theme, and I've showed you how to fully set up everything. We've covered how to install the theme, adding any required plugins, using skins and demos using WooCommerce, understanding the Themify settings, using Builder, and the widgets, menus, and customization panel as well. If you need any help, then you can get assistance from the Themify support team, also at themify.me. Otherwise, I hope this video has been helpful for you. We've learned how to fully set up the shop theme.